Hi guys, sorry I can't be there today, but I'd like to walk you through the assignment today so that you know what to expect. Okay, so you should have the binder piece with you right now, binder piece Q2B4. It's called Conjugating Verbs in the Present Tense, and the paper says to keep this forever. Today we're going to focus on just conjugating weak verbs and then irregular verbs that are still weak, but that have a special thing here or there that we need to keep in mind. So, follow along as I walk you through this paper. Conjugating verbs in the present tense. Keep this forever. In order to access the correct form of the verb necessary for any given sentence, first you need to be able to reduce the subject of that sentence to a single pronoun. The sentence might be talking about Joe Cool, but Joe Cool's name is not on your conjugation chart, so you need to know that Joe Cool, the noun, would be replaced with the pronoun he. And so we would look up, how do I handle a verb for the pronoun he? If we look at our pronouns again, we have ich is I, du is you, singular, just one friend or one relative. And when you're talking right to them, they're du. We have he is er, she is sie, and es is it. Those are the singular forms. The plural forms are wir is we, ihr is you guys, so that's two or more friends or relatives. Sie means they, and sie can also mean you, and that you can be one person that you don't know or plural people that you don't know, more than one. So, regular and also weak verbs, present tense. That's the next heading. You must memorize the basic patterns for verb conjugation. You can assume that a verb is weak unless a strong conjugation is given along with the infinitive in the dictionary. So in the dictionary, if I look up the verb essen, which is a strong verb, it'll say essen, and then in parentheses, it'll show me how to conjugate it for he. So it'll say I-S-S-T. And then I know that's how I conjugate it for he. Okay, so you must memorize the basic patterns for verb conjugation. You can assume that a verb is weak unless a strong conjugation is given along with the infinitive form in the dictionary. So for spielen, for ich, I do stem plus e. For du, I do stem plus st. For he, she, and it, er, sie, and es, I do stem plus t. And when I say stem, I mean basically everything except for the final en in the infinitive. So the stem of spielen is spiel. So spiela, spielst, spielt. The stem is spiel, and then I add after that. For wir, I use the infinitive, which is the word spielen. For the ihr, the you guys form, I use spiel plus t, stem plus t, so spielt. Ihr spielt, you guys play. And then for the third person plural, the word they, which is sie, I use the infinitive, spielen. And the word you, for a formal person, someone I don't know, or a group of people I don't know, I use sie spielen, the infinitive again. Other weak verbs have funky things happening in their stems that make it impossible for a person to say. So that's why we need to know how to handle irregular verbs. Otherwise, when we go and add stuff to the stem, we won't be able to pronounce it, and then we've got a big old problem. So follow along on the paper. It says irregular but still weak verbs in the present tense. So it says stems that end with the letter D or T need to keep an extra syllable, the letter E, at the end of their stems in the third person singular and the second person plural form in order to make the words easier to pronounce. So, for example, arbeiten would be arbeitet. The stem is arbeit, but if I do stem plus T, then I just have two T's in a row. That's not enough. And I put all the verbs at the beginning of the glossary so that you can see them all as you're going through this, because the verbs are what we're really dealing with. I want you to know that all of the verbs here are weak. Every one of the verbs on here is weak. So we aren't Remember with strong verbs, we have to change the spelling of the stem for the he form and the you form. We don't have to change any stem spellings at all. Every single verb on here is weak. However, some of them are irregular, so we have to be able to bounce them. Let's take a look at this though. Let's walk through this so that we can kind of get an understanding of this. You can see the very first one on here is arbeiten. Notice that I put the T at the end of the stem in bold print. That was my indication to you that this is an irregular verb and we need to bounce it. So we need to keep this bonus E when we use it for the he form and the do form, you know, the you singular form, and the you guys form. So you guys would be ihr arbeitet. So if you see a letter that's in bold, it means it's irregular and we need to do the irregular stuff. So we've got arbeiten, and if we scroll down our list, we have kosten. So that's going to be es kostet instead of just es kosts. Es kostet. We have regnen, which means to rain. So es regnet, it rains. Then I put tanzen in bold because for the do form, all we do is we add the T because it has that S sound. So du tanzt. And then we have the verb warten, which means to wait. And the T is in bold to let you know I want you to bounce that one. Er wartet, he waits. So again, if I back it up to tanzen, that's not a bounce one. Don't bounce tanzen. That's just bolded because it has the S sound. Also, if we look at this word bank a little bit, go back up to the top where you see the big parentheses. We've got something that says sich freuen. This is a whole crazy construction, which means this verb is reflecting back on you. The word sich means himself or herself, or itself. And it's going to be used in your sentences, right, like this. This is exactly what you'll see on the paper. Es freut mich. So when you see a blank freut mich, you know to put in the word es. Es freut mich. That means it brings me joy. It brings me joy. Let me see if there's anything else weird on this that you need to see. Nope. Okay, now you should have the assignment. You will do all your work on the paper. All the work gets done on the regular worksheet. But in addition, I'd like you to record your blanks on the bubble sheet. That way I can come back from where I am and just roll it through the machine and know how bad of shape I'm in with you guys. Or maybe I'm in great shape with you guys. So you can see that here are the directions. I've put directions throughout the whole thing to make sure that you know exactly what I expect. So in the first section, it says verbs in the present tense, weak verbs, regular and irregular. It says complete your work on this paper and on the bubble sheet when indicated. Letter A, for each sentence in this first part, 1, reduce the given subject down to a single pronoun. Number 2, write the pronoun on this sheet of paper and record that pronoun on the bubble sheet using this pronoun word bank. Then I would like you to translate each new sentence into English. Let's do the first one together. It says, Nummer 1. In parentheses, I have Herr und Frau Müller. So I know that that's the name that I need to put down into a single pronoun. When I see Herr und Frau Müller, though, I'm like, wait a minute, is that going to be, is it going to be they? Herr und Frau Müller, they? Or am I talking to them, and should I use the formal form of you, sie? So you got to be tricky and make sure that you pay attention to what's happening in the sentence. So we've got blank, suchen die Kinder. Hint, are we talking to them or about them? Answer, we're talking to them. No, answer, we're talking about them. Come on, Nutter, grr. So instead of saying Herr und Frau Müller suchen die Kinder, which you can see is a good cognate for Mr. and Mrs. Müller are seeking the children, they're looking for the children, I want to say they are looking for the children. Herr und Frau Müller, they are looking for the children. So my answer will be this. I need to put in the word sie meaning they. So you might even want to just put in parentheses that you're doing they. And this CD is what we use for that. So you might want to put that there. What I would do if I were you, I would sit there and I would do the worksheet, worksheet. And then after that, I would put everything on the bubble sheet. Because otherwise you get a little bit whatever. Okay, and then the translation is they. And you can do it in smooth translation. So I'm going to write, they are looking for the children. Or you can do it in a literal translation. They seek the children. I like the smooth. They are looking for the kids, the children. So that's number one. And then I know that this pronoun Z, meaning they, is the letter CD. So I'll bubble both of those onto my bubble sheet, CD. For this paper, you need to go through and make sure you read the directions. And be good for the sub. Bye.